Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, and everyone listening on the World Wide Web and beyond. This is the Global Reality with your host, Josh Reeves.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. This is the Monday, October 26, 2015 edition of the broadcast, and I thank you for being with me here. Thank you for tuning in and listening, no matter where that may be happening at, whether it's happening on the stream here at the network or whether that's happening on the archives or wherever it may be, YouTube. We actually stopped uploading shows on a regular basis to YouTube. We will be uploading this show. Well, we are. Obviously, if you're hearing this, it's on YouTube. So if you're listening on YouTube, thank you for listening here again. But I'm not going to be uploading them regular. This is kind of a, special show, certain times, stuff like that. We'll be uploading them, but not on a regular basis. So if you want to keep current with the show, then please go to my website, theglobalreality.com. We have a 128K live stream there you can listen to the shows on. We also have the 128K membership archives, $10 a month. Gets cheaper the longer you get. So if you buy 3 months, it gets cheaper, 6 months, a year. And that's where you can stay current. This has been a rough month. It was a rough month last month for our 8-year anniversary. We were trying to get some goals accomplished last month to be able to cover operating costs for the rest of the year so we didn't have to worry about that. We didn't achieve that goal. And not only did we not achieve that goal, but we also barely made it through the month. We didn't even get back on air until, the 12th, 13th, something like that of the month. Middle of the month or so, and then finally we got back up, and then we haven't had very much support since then either, and I have been off air working on the film. That's why there hasn't been regular shows. That's why the shows have been less, because I'm working on my new film, trying to get this thing finished. But the fact of the matter is, we just with no resources and no budget, nothing else, it makes it very difficult to get any work done. And that's really where we're at. My grandfather passed away recently. I was unable to go to his funeral, which upset me, quite a bit. So, yeah, that about brings me up to speed there. But anyway, we soldier on, nonetheless. It's never easy. None of this stuff is easy, doing this, putting yourself out there. Because even though we've come a long way with topics like these, there are still so many people out there that are still willing victims of the Matrix. They love it. They love their enslavement. Oh, they just can't get enough of it. They covet their enslavement. They covet their stupidity. And I say, fuck them and feed them fish heads. Let them have it, Hey, who am I to piss all over your parade? Ignorance is bliss, right? Got to have that bliss. But, there's just as many ignorant people that know about this type of stuff, too. There really is. Just because you know about this stuff doesn't make you a fucking rocket scientist or a genius or anything else, that's for sure. Or even a stable mental individual. A lot of this stuff just adds fuel to the fire of people who are already mentally unstable. That's, that's what I get. Like, you wouldn't believe the fucking mental cases I deal with on a weekly basis. Jesus Christ. Emails I get. People, there are people out there who are just flat mental cases, man. And, you combine this type of stuff with their already unstable mental capacity, and it just produces bad results. That's for sure. But we are here. We are broadcasting with you. This is the 26th of October, 2015. We've got a lot of very interesting stuff to discuss here tonight. But, it's fascinating to me. I've been really blown away lately at seeing just where how much of this stuff they're pushing in the media now, especially concerning extraterrestrials, and especially concerning a topic I've been talking about for many years, which is transhumanism, AI supercomputers, the merging of humans with machines. And man, as somebody who's been covering that topic for a lot of years, and there's radio shows you can go back and listen where I predicted that in 2015 we would start to see massive breakthroughs regarding the merging of humans with machines much quicker than what they were telling us, 4, 5, 6, 10 years ago. There are shows you can go back and listen to from like 2009, 2010, where I'm talking about this stuff, and I'm telling people, I don't agree with Kurzweil and the rest of these guys who say, oh, this stuff's 20 years off, whatever. No. I predicted many years ago, by 2015, we'd start seeing major breakthroughs in this, and this stuff would be here a lot quicker than we thought. And, I'll let you judge for yourself if I was correct in that statement, just by, we've got several news stories here tonight that'll back that up 100% as well. But you can just take a look at the news. It's a very big talking point right now, and it's just getting scary. It's just getting flat. We're coming down to that choice, and they're pumping it in movies and everything else. The next stage in human evolution is merging with machines and all this. They're pumping it in all the science fiction movies. They're pumping it in TV shows. And the people who want to depopulate the planet love it. Because the way they see it, it's killing two birds with one stone for them. Because not only do they already think themselves as gods, but their ultimate goal is they want to become God-like themselves by merging with machines. And, whoever wants to go with them, whoever wants to join, great. Those that don't, that's great for them too. That's a win-win. Because they need people, they already know there are people out there that are not going to go for this, and they love it. They love that. Because then they want people they can rule over and use as slaves once they do this. But they're going to sell you on the merging with machines as being the cure-all magic bullet for all the world's problems, from hunger, from overpopulation, to global warming, everything else. They're going to sell us every which way, and they've already been slowly sort of getting us ready for this and acclimating us to this through the total immersion of technology into our lives through phones and tablets, computers, and everything else. But a lot of the biometric stuff now that's being sold to us under the guise of quote-unquote security are really the precursor to the final selling of the merging with machines. So we'll get into those stories and a whole lot more here tonight. But I just got to thinking about that I remembered several years ago. I said 2015. That's going to be the big year for it. And boy, I was right with looking at all the stuff. I mean, every day there's new stories coming out saying breakthroughs. The stuff's happening sooner than they thought. It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm sure there are some of you out there listening to this show who are going to line the fuck up for that shit aren't you? I bet there's some, not all of you, but I bet there's a lot of you out there listening that are going to go for it. You're going to line the fuck up when they offer that shit, huh? Can't wait to merge with machines. And I'm not interested in that. It's soul enslavement is what it is. And I don't believe that this technology is being foisted upon us by mere mortal men. No way in hell do I believe that. I don't believe it for a second. You can call me crazy, you can disagree with me, whatever the fuck. Fine. You have your opinion, I have mine. I'm not budging on it. I don't believe this technology is being foisted on us by other humans. I believe there is a much deeper, and that just comes from the research. I mean, if you read ancient texts and stuff, there's hints of this and stuff in there. There's hints of it even in the Bible, which, I don't put a lot of stock in for everything. I mean, it's obviously there's actual historical things in there, but, stuff has been left out, stuff's been added to, stuff's been fudged. But there are, there are things in there, what is it, something about in the last days of man, men will try to kill themselves, but they can't, or some kind of reference in there to that, kind of sounds a lot like this idea of, because, I mean, it's not just about merging humans and organic material with computers and all this stuff. It's about the entrapment of the soul itself and not allowing the soul, the non-material, the spiritual part, the energy that animates the carbon-based meat suit. It's about keeping that trapped in the dense matter matrix indefinitely. That's why I believe there's a much more sinister influence and sinister agenda behind transhumanism, the merging with machines, and the rest of this. Because honestly, if these people just wanted to become, living gods on earth and rule all over the rest of us as slaves, carbon-based meat, why they become gods. See, that's why a lot of people believe that. I don't believe that's only the case. Because if they wanted to do that, they would have already done it. They would already be doing it, and we wouldn't be hearing anything about this. This stuff, if you really study it, their goal is to get everyone to merge with this stuff. They're not talking about just keeping it for themselves. No. See, if they wanted to keep this just for themselves, you'd never hear about it. It'd be locked away, but we're hearing actual reports of this stuff being brought to the masses. Why? When have they wanted to ever do anything? They'll sell us on every sort of continuity of life and everything. I mean, we are designed to have a very specific beginning, middle, and end, like a good 3-act play or something, or a good 3-act film or whatever it may be. And this idea of, trapping the soul indefinitely definitely has a sinister influence to it. There's no question. But we'll get into more of that. There's all kinds of stories in here for us to talk about tonight. Somebody actually suggested I make a film on that kind of thing at some point, and I'd love to do that, but we've got so many other projects right now that we've got to fund and get off the ground that it's, something like that is definitely on my far back burner for sure, but I got to get out Spellcasters first and Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 3, which is like, it's more than half shot. And the Rockwall Dig, all that stuff. But yeah, at some point I will make some sort of film about transhumanism, supercomputers, that whole thing. Because it is something I've studied for a long time, done many shows about. There's lots of stuff out there that I've done on it. TheGlobalReality.com is my website. Go there and get yourself a download out of our download shop. With all kinds of stuff in there, audiobooks, all my documentary films, Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 1 and 2. I also sell DVDs and Blu-rays of those films at my website. If you're listening and you've never seen Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 1 and 2, and you have an interest in, anomalous things, out-of-place artifacts, ancient civilizations, Atlantis, any of that stuff, you've got to see these films. Especially if you're not familiar with all my Rockwall work. But it's so much more than that. And that's really the whole point of why continue to make those films and why we are, trying to get a Volume 3 out and all that. Because it really, for me, it started out as just the Rockwall. And then by trying to find if anything similar to the Rockwall and whatnot in all those stories and reports, the giant skeletons and all that stuff had been found. I started looking into other sites just in the United States, and it's absolutely been mind-blowing. It's been a mind-blowing journey. And I've got so much more to reveal in these films. But all this stuff from the radio show to the films, none of it is possible without your support. And again, we need it now more than ever. This is our fundraising week. We've got our October 2015 fundraising banner up there at our website. It's also on the Facebook page. We've got roughly $700 or so to raise by the end of this week. So please, everybody, put all your available resources that you can spare. Help us out. There's all kinds of perks in there as well. We'll have a big prize pack that we'll also give away to the largest contributor. And well, it's not really. It's kind of a prize pack. It's more just like a grand prize, because I've got something special that I want to give away. This is something I haven't even, put out there yet, but it's something really, really incredibly special. So we'll talk about that more later in the week. But nonetheless, it will be a big prize, worth at least $500. I mean, maybe more. It's one single thing that we're going to be giving away. Anyway, we've got so much work left to do. We've got a lot of projects and a lot of stuff on the back burners here, but we've got to have. We've just been getting. It's the past year. I tell you, it's been the worst for support in the 8 years I've been doing this. It's almost impossible to get any funding for our projects anymore. We've got all these projects, and I mean, it blows me away how many people share our projects and like them on Facebook, and I look at some of these, how many times they've been shared. It's mind-blowing how many times they've been viewed, 5,000-6,000 times, and then you look at how many people have contributed, and it's like 2 people have contributed. But 6,000 people have viewed the page, and 400 have shared it. And, folks, sharing just doesn't get it done. If you like it on Facebook or share it, that's great, but that doesn't get the job done. And it blows me away how many people, will repost this stuff and they're interested in it. And you think they would be interested enough to, throw a little bit in there. But they don't. So it's, it's frustrating. And, if I don't get up here and tell you to support our work, then we don't get anything. I've tried that. I've tried just having the the honor system for contributions, and it just flat doesn't work. I've tried it. I've tried to get up here and just say, okay, I'm not going to, I won't even ask people to help our work. I'll just let it be and let them do it. And I did that a few times, and it was terrible, horrible, bad news doing that. Because then we get nothing. So that's the bottom line. But this month, I mean, it's been terrible. We've raised $135 of our $900 goal to cover operating costs. I mean, I didn't even get to go to my own grandfather's funeral, folks. So please, I implore you to act right now. We're operating. I mean, we're less than fumes. I mean, we're sitting on like $10 here, and yet the work is continued. We've got new audiobooks in the works. I've got a new film I'm working on. I'm trying to fund another film that I'm going to start working on Lost Secrets 3 once Spellcasters comes out. So we've got a current fundraiser up for that as well. It's on our Facebook page. And if you don't want to contribute through PayPal on those operating cost banners, you can always use the donate button there, and it's still through PayPal, but it won't require you to log in or have an account or anything. You can just pay with a credit card, debit card. And if you don't have a credit or debit card, you can get a prepaid one like CVS, Walgreens, that kind of thing. But please don't wait, and please don't think that, oh, I'm just not going to contribute. I'll leave it to somebody else. Because that's been the problem. Everybody's doing that. Everybody thinks somebody else is just going to come along. Nobody else is coming along. And the whole thing, oh, it's not a good time or it's a bad time. I've been hearing that from some people for years and years and years. And there's some people out there, people who claim to be big, supporters of mine, who've never contributed anything. And I'm sitting there going, that's bullshit. You could contribute something. You own an iPad, you own a cell phone, and you have internet access every month, but yet you can't contribute $10 one time in your life or $20. And that's the thing. If everybody out there just contributed a small amount, we would never have to worry about anything. We have tens of thousands of listeners every week and every month. And, if there was 2 people listening and we weren't getting contributions, I wouldn't even say anything. I would understand. The fact of the matter is, I've been doing this for 8 years. We have thousands of listeners all over the globe, and there's just really no reason why we shouldn't be getting any support. So there it is. Please go and help us out. I'm tired of saying it. I really am. I'm as tired of saying it as you are of hearing it. But if everybody just did it, then we wouldn't have to worry about it, So, act now and please help us out, folks. You can also purchase things from our Etsy shop, Let There Be Rocks. I sell crystals, gemstones, jewelry, pendants, rings, mineral specimens. I mean, if we don't have it, we can get it. We offer all kinds of amazing gemstone crystals, everything from tourmaline to moldavite, opals of all kinds. Opals is one of our biggest sellers. We sell a lot of opal rings and pendants. We've got tanzanite. We've got Libyan desert glass. We've got Larimar, the Atlantean stone. We've got Herkimer diamonds. We got every little bit of everything. We've got lapis lazuli, which was a favorite of the Sumerians, the Anunnaki. We've got rubies, Arlite 23. We've got Super 7. We've got rhodochrosite. We've got meteorite. And we got everything. Amazonite, smoky quartz. Lots of rare, hard to find stuff. If you're a collector, if you're into stuff for metaphysical purposes, if you need certain crystals for certain spiritual things, or you need them to, for certain healing things, hey, we can suggest stuff. Just get in contact with me and I can suggest what would be good for you. But definitely go check that stuff out. And it's the holidays, they're coming up soon. And there's all kinds of great gift items in there, especially if you know a rock hound or someone who is a collector. We got lots of nice specimen museum pieces, and we have rings and we have pendants and that kind of stuff. But we also have mineral specimens, lanite. I mean, we got all kinds of rare stuff. Russian demantoid, which is like the rarest form of garnet in the world. It's green. It's magical stuff. Anyway, it's one of my passions, and I know a lot about it. I'm definitely an expert in the metaphysical end of crystals and their uses and all of that stuff. And again, if you don't see something that you're looking for, just shoot me a message and let me know. And I can sure most likely get it for you. We got all kinds of stuff in there. And that's a great way to support our work. If everybody out there went to our Etsy shop this week and just bought one item, everybody that's listening out there, we'd be covered. So that's another way that, if you don't want to make a contribution, you don't want to get a perk, one of our perk packages or whatnot. This month, everybody who donates $100 is getting a 1-year membership and a free download from our download shop. So if you were thinking about getting a membership to our archives, but maybe you were thinking about contributing too, but you didn't know which one you wanted to do, to me, that's the best way to go. If we had 7 people between now and Saturday, 7 people between now and Saturday contribute $100 and get a 1-year membership and a free download from the download shop, we'd have all our operating costs covered. But that's all we need. We just need 7 of you out there, of the thousands that will hear this show, to contribute $100 between now and Saturday. That's all we need. 7 people could make this happen. And if you bought something from our Etsy shop as well, that would be great too. And another special thing that I wanted to tell you about the Etsy shop. We've got a sale going on until the end of the week, Halloween sale, Halloween 2015. Put that coupon code in when you check out, and you'll get 20% off any item or order with no minimum purchase, which is a fantastic deal. We always do at least a $40 minimum. No minimum this month, 20% off. And I'm going to even sweeten the deal even farther for our listeners. If you spend at least $100 in our Etsy shop this week, make sure when you purchase your item, you indicate you're a listener, so I'll know. Any purchase of $100 or more out of our Etsy shop this week, you will also get the deal that we're offering for the $100 contribution. So not only will you get, $100 worth of amazing gemstones, crystals, and that kind of stuff from our Etsy shop, but you'll also get the 1-year archive access and the free download. I mean, you're winning all the way around. 7 of those to give away. So we need 7 of you to either contribute $100 by Saturday or purchase $100 worth of stuff out of our Etsy shop. So, using and with the 20% off coupon on top of that, dude, that's really a steal. And you should really take advantage of that, especially if you have people that you want to buy gifts for the holidays that are into crystals and that kind of thing. This is the perfect time to do it. We've got some world-class stuff in our Etsy shop. It's www.etsy.com/shop/let there be rocks. We have links to our Facebook page up on the website, and there's also links to the Etsy shop there as well. So I wanted to mention that. All right, let's get into this crazy, insane news here tonight. Now, I saw this story last week. I think it was the week before. And, saw of course, the whole internet freaking out, going crazy about it. And my first response when I saw it myself was, okay, well, I'm sure there's some plausible explanation for this. So even though I'm usually one of those, because that's the thing, folks, you have to be, even though no matter how crazy you understand this stuff to be and insane, and it is. I mean, there's so many things you would think would be not true or would be, just made up science fiction that's real. I mean, there's been so many things I've heard about through the years. And I was like, oh, no, there's no way that's real. There's no way that's true. I'm gonna go do some research on that and prove it's not true. There's been a lot of things like that. I've started from the standpoint of trying to prove. A lot of people have done that. That's that's kind of the way you should do it sometimes. And boy, it's wild when you do that and you start finding things that prove that it is true, even though sometimes you don't want it to be. That's the way it happens. But a disturbing city has appeared in the sky in China, and it's freaking out everyone. Want to see something really strange? How about a city in the sky? Yep, really. That's what we've got for you here, and it's a real head-scratcher. The mysterious cityscape appeared in the clouds over Foshan in the Guangdong province of China. Weirder still, a similar scene greeted people in the Jiangxing province just days later as well. What on earth is behind it? And this is what got me. So, many of you have probably seen this by now. There's lots of video of it. And, of course, myself, when I first saw it, I said, okay, well, obviously there's a plausible explanation for this, I'm sure. But then I read, started doing a little research on this. Then I read what their plausible explanation for it was. And I've seen this happen a lot of times with, well, you have too with cover-ups, things, especially stuff like 9/11. Where they explain away things that happen, but yet can't give us another example of it ever happening anywhere before. And that's when you're dealing with a cover-up. When they roll out a nice and tidy explanation for a strange phenomenon, be it mysterious images of a city appearing over China, or be it buildings with indestructible steel cores that in no way, shape, or form could ever have gotten hot enough from any sort of airplane fill kerosene to melt, and not only melt, but to pulverize concrete into liquefy metal, and to the explosive nature of that to bring down a building demolition style, with the squibs and the blast coming out just like you would see in a demolition. And yet they explain that away, and then you try to, okay, well, give us another example. Give us another example of a building that's collapsed like that from fire, and they can't give one. Same thing with the rock wall, my rock wall work. Well, it's natural. It's a natural formation. Okay. Show us another example of, if it's natural and you have it all explained away, then show us another natural formation like the rock wall. Show us where, well, we can't. It's the only one in the world. Right. So beyond you shove it out, that's what it is, but you can't give another example of it. You can't give another example of a building coming down like that. It's JFK. Can you give us another example to where a bullet coming from the back of someone leaves the reverse type of entry and exit wound that you would expect to see. And, stuff like the rock wall. I mean, the niobium that's found in the rock wall. I'd like to see Scott Walter and America on Earth touch that. Of course, they wouldn't, because they didn't even touch what the wall's made of. Their whole fucking argument was null and void because they didn't bother telling anybody what the thing was even made out of. They didn't even bother doing actual lab analysis. They get some questionable rock that didn't even come from the rock wall, and Walter goes in there and scratches on it and goes, oh, it's definitely limestone. There's not limestone one. We've had chemical analysis down the rock wall. There's not limestone one found in that thing. But the most interesting thing to me is the niobium. That's a structural engineering component we didn't even know about until the late 1800s. And it's only found in an element called columbite. So in order to have niobium, you have to first extract it through an extraction process from this element called columbite, which I have, a raw piece of. It is found here in the United States. And then you can get the niobium from it. Well, there's no columbite found in the rock wall whatsoever. It's pure niobium that's been extracted from its host rock. Same thing with the tourmaline that's found, and some of the other elements that are found in the rock wall. Niobium's used to make jet engines, rocket engines, pipelines. It's if you're doing an activity or using a metal that's going to generate a lot of heat that could cause the weakening of the steel or whatever you're using, structural engineers add just a little bit of niobium to the mix, and they find that it reinforces metals to such a degree that high temperatures won't affect them. That's what the rock wall has in it. Now, there's never been another natural formation ever anywhere on the planet that's ever been found that way. So that's, again, you get my point. Same thing here. Some people are arguing that the phenomenon from the Chinese cities in the sky was a result of a fata morgana, which is basically an elaborate mirage, according to an expert who spoke to the Daily Mail. It's caused when the sun heats up the atmosphere above the land or oceans, which causes a gradient of temperatures. The air close to the surface is relatively cool, and above that, there are layers of warmer air. When light hits a boundary between two layers there that are different temperatures, and as a result, different densities, it bends and travels at different angles. Could it be that or something much more paranormal? You decide. Now, here's my thing. Okay, great. Notice how quickly when this happened, they had what would appear to the average person. Okay, well, your average person is going to read that and go, well, obviously that person knows this better than I do, so who am I to question it? They're obviously a scientist, and obviously they were printed in a newspaper, so obviously they've got to be telling us the truth. So that it wasn't until I saw their supposed explanation that I started to wonder if there was something more to this. And I started looking into this going, okay, you've got the explanation. There it is again. So again, let us see another example of this. I mean, if you know immediately within a day of this happening what it is and what causes it, then surely you can produce another example of this. I did research and I couldn't find one. There is no other examples of this happening. Yet it happened twice in a short period of time in China. Something doesn't smell right about that. And there are definite I think there are different instances where the other non-material realms of reality sometimes conditions are right. And you can get a glimpse of that. That's what I think it most likely is. But then again, who knows? But to say that, when I started to smell a rat was when I said, okay, here's their explanation. Let's go see it. I mean, is there any other examples of people seeing gigantic cities and videoing it? And this ever happened anywhere before? Because you would think if they already knew immediately what it is, this is a mirage caused by weather conditions, blah, 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 blah. they'd be able to show, see, here we have there is no other examples of it. Just like there are no other examples of a natural formation like the rock wall, just like there are no other examples of massive buildings coming down as a result of kerosene fires. Now, speaking of 9/11, there is an interesting, this immediately came to my mind when I saw this, is an interesting sort of counterpoint. Maybe you guys have seen this. If you haven't seen this, you got to see this. There are pictures taken several years after 9/11. I'm not sure exactly how long, maybe 4 or 5 years. But there are actually pictures. This is before they started building the Freedom Tower and all that crap down there. But there are actual images of after 9/11, years after 9/11, that were taken where I guess the conditions were right or something, the same kind of similar thing here to the China thing. But you could actually see ghosted images of the Twin Towers. Like a black outline, very similar to this Chinese thing of the Twin Towers, like they were still standing, like they were still there. And that's fascinating. It's almost as if the energy that those buildings possessed as a material object, were left a fingerprint, an imprint there because they were there for so many years, even after they were destroyed. But it's very strange. And it can't simply be chalked up to a mirage because they look too perfect. They look just like the two towers still there. And that's what immediately came to my mind when I saw this China thing. So who knows? I mean, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is caused by. It's very interesting. I tend to lean towards, there are clearly the evidence is in for there being multiple dimensions all around us. We only are able to access a limited amount of those. And these realities coexist. It's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like shadow people. People talk to me. You heard, people have talked about that stuff for years and paranormal circles and coast to coast AM and that kind of thing. And people laugh at that stuff and act like it's not real and stuff. But I've seen them. I've seen them myself. I've seen shadow people. Absolutely, they're real. There's a whole other realm of reality that exists within our own reality that we don't have access and we can't see. And every now and again, when the conditions are right, we're able to get a glimpse of this. And in my opinion, that's what this City in the Sky thing is. Cops are asking Ancestry.com and 23andMe for their customers' DNA. When companies like I've known for years, my goodness, you can say, someone's paranoid or whatever you want to say, but I've told people for years, you're an absolute moron if you willfully give your DNA up for analysis to any of these ancestry websites. Now, there are a ton of them. And I've had people argue with me, oh no, it's safe. This is just a, service. They would never give your DNA information to the government or anybody like that. Come on, you're just paranoid. This has been a trap. They've tried for years to get us to willfully give up our DNA because they want everybody cataloged. And it's more than just wanting everybody cataloged. They want it for, I believe, much more nefarious purposes than that. I believe they want it so they can engineer things like race-specific bioweapons and things they've talked about many times before using. And now, here it is. Now it's happening. When companies like Ancestry.com and 23andMe first invited people to send in their DNA for genealogy tracing and medical diagnostic tests, privacy advocates warned about the creation of giant genetic databases that might one day be used against participants by law enforcement. DNA, after all, could be a key in solving crimes. It has serious information about you and your family. Genetic privacy advocate Jeremy Gruber told me back in 2010 when such services were just getting popular. Now, 5 years later, when 23andMe and Ancestry both have over 1 million customers, those warnings are looking prescient. Your relative's DNA could turn you into a suspect, warns Wire, writing about a case from earlier this year in which New Orleans filmmaker Michael Ursay became a suspect in an unsolved murder case after cops did a familial genetic search using semen collected in 1996. The cops searched in Ancestry.com database and got a familiar match to a saliva sample Ursay's father had given years earlier. Ursay was ultimately determined to be innocent, and the Electronic Frontier Foundation called it a wild goose chase that demonstrated the very real threats to privacy and civil liberties posed by law enforcement access to private genetic databases. The FBI maintains a national genetic database with samples from convicts and arrestees, but this was the most public example of cops turning to private genetic databases to find a suspect. And of course, that's how they sell it to you. Well, you want us to keep you safe, don't you? You want us to keep you safe from the murderers and the killers out there. Just give us your DNA. That way, if you can feel safe knowing that if we have your DNA and you're not guilty of anything, we'll know immediately it's not you when we check your DNA against what we're looking for. You'll have the peace of mind. Oh, so we'll have the peace of mind knowing that you won't unjustly try to accuse us of a crime. I mean, this is absolute horseshit. And to me, the biggest reason you shouldn't do it is it boils down to what we were talking about earlier with the transhumanist thing and the collection of this data. I mean, these supercomputers, man, they feed on information. And that's where I believe a lot of this data mining, this information is going to. It's going to be collected by these massive supercomputers that will eventually be used against us in a much more sinister way than is happening today. So yeah, if they come up to your car and pull you over, if you're drunk or you're on pills or you're on heroin or coke or some crazy shit like that, I mean, you're fucked. Shouldn't have been behind the wheel in the first place. Give up your shit. But if you get pulled over and you're not drunk or high and you're sober and they tell you they want to take some DNA to test, you refuse that shit immediately and you call a lawyer, because this is what they're trying to do now, and they're going to do this more and more. See, that you can't, there's just some things you can't get through to people about. There are people out there who they want stuff like marijuana to be legalized and they want it to be decriminalized, and of course it should be. But even though something should be decriminalized or legalized does not always mean that we should just ignore all the possible reasons why maybe it shouldn't be. And we're starting to see that now. And people who have wanted weed to be legal for years have never wanted, they've been in denial, have never wanted to admit the pitfalls of it. And now we're starting to see it, which is stuff like these, marijuana breathalyzers and things. Stuff that just gives them more power to invade your privacy unjustly under the guise of, well, we need to make sure you're not smoking the wacky weed and get behind the wheel. I mean, honestly, unless you're 15 years old, or 16 or 17, some dumb young teenager. I mean, I've never seen anyone in my life, and I've been around a lot of high people, I'm not afraid to tell you. I mean, drunk, yeah, you shouldn't be behind the wheel. You shouldn't be behind the wheel if you've had a beer or two. But marijuana does not impact your ability to drive. In fact, I would say almost every person, I've never seen someone driving high, because you're more focused. You're actually, I think people who are high drive better. I think it should make it a law that everybody should be high. I mean, they give driver's licenses. I mean, fuck. There needs to be more stringent tests on that. These fucking people out there on the road these days, man, I tell you what, it makes me wonder how they ever got fucking, it's because they'll give one to anybody. They're wanting us to register our drones now with the government. I've got a drone. I bought one back in 2013. I've used it a couple of times. But I bought it to use at ancient sites. But every time we'd gone out to some of these sites, man, the weather conditions were just never where we could get anything shot. But, fuck you. I'm not going to register my fucking drone with the government. Kiss my fucking red ass. How about you register this? Register my fat cock. How about that? Put a number on it and register my fat cock. That's what I'm going to register. Registering a fucking drone. Give me a break. Who does the government register their drones with? Themselves? That's what I want to know. We should have a publicly run register system for the government's drones. Because we don't know how many they have and how many are up there and how many they're using and where they're flying them at, do we? It's ridiculous. But do not give these people your DNA. And, this whole thing, well, we want to be able to test people, give people a breath of life. So now they're going to pull you over. Maybe you haven't had a drink in your life. Maybe you are smoking marijuana for medical purposes. And you have a moral issue with taking pharmaceutical drugs. I don't take pharmaceutical drugs. It's so funny, man. The pharmaceutical drug thing is, goddamn, that's got so many people by the short and curlies. And it gets those goody two-shoes people, too. That's what I think's funny about the drugs and alcohol. You'll see these people, I've never had a drug or a drink in my life. I've never smoked a cigarette. People who smoke marijuana and smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol are terrible. Meanwhile, they're so pilled out. Oh, well, I've got a back problem. Yeah, everybody's got a fucking back problem. Everybody's back problem doesn't require fucking 18 OxyContin and 16 Percocet and fucking, whatever else. Vicodin. It's funny how there's so many fucking hypocrites out there who sit around and pass judgment on everybody else and act like they're fucking addicts. They're drug addicts. If you don't drink alcohol and you don't smoke cigarettes, you don't smoke marijuana or anything else, but yet you can't make it through the day without taking a prescription drug, guess what, Bubba? You're a fucking addict like everybody else you claim to be against. And if you think you aren't, you're fucking kidding yourself. You're lying to yourself. If you can't make it through the day without taking a pharmaceutical drug, I don't give a fuck if it's for arrhythmia or whatever else or fucking blood pressure, you are a fucking drug addict. And with these fucking cops, man, they're such hypocrites. These cops are fucking pilled out and doing everything themselves. And so these goody, I've had family members like that. Family members, look down on everybody else because they think, it's all assumptions. Oh, they just assume so-and-so is a drug addict, or assume so-and-so is a drunk or whatever else, and yet they can't make it through the day without slobbing down 10 or 20 pills. I don't take any fucking pills. I won't even take a motherfucking Advil unless my head is hurting so bad I can't stand it, and that's rare. I don't drink alcohol. I hadn't drank alcohol in over 4 years. I don't take prescriptions. I don't do coke. I don't do heroin. I've been known to take a puff on the wacky tobacco, from time to time when it's there. But it's just hilarious. I got long hair and tattoos. People look at me and pass judgment on me and, assume that I'm probably a drug addict and, a drunk or whatever else. Meanwhile, they're slobbing down fucking pills, so pilled out they can't even leave the couch, long enough to go to a family reunion or something. Those are so pilled, but yet, oh man, God, I want to say it so bad. I probably should. I mean, he fucking ain't ever gonna listen to. No, I don't know. My family listens to the fucking shows anyway. My brother and sister do some, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I won't name a name, but I got somebody in my family that works in the corrupt criminal prison system and has for a great many years. And I've seen this person act many times like they're fucking holier than thou and fucking everybody else is under them. You know, people who work in those, they get drunk on power and they have a power trip and they think just because they work for the system that they are a part of the system, not realizing they're just as much of a slave as anybody else is. You know, they start and they deal with criminals and all this, so they start to view everybody who's not one of them as a criminal. And I mean, I've seen this person act that way towards me on many occasions. This person I'm referencing to is now addicted to painkillers. I saw my dad go out. My dad was addicted to them too. My dad broke his back or hurt it. I think I forget what, it slipped some discs or something. When I was real young, 3rd grade or something, man. This is mid-'80s. And he was hooked to him till the day he died. And it's just hilarious that we don't have cops or law enforcement in general. I mean, prescription drug use is higher now than it ever has been. That's a fact. Deaths from prescription drugs dwarf deaths by alcohol and marijuana or whatever else, by leaps and bounds. I don't have the exact statistics in front of me. You can go look it up, but it's massive. But yet, my point is, we don't have people talking about, well, let's have, blood tests, breathalyzer tests for people on prescription drugs. Boy, they should, though. Boy, it'd be, your morning commute would be... Can you imagine if they had stated, one day they had stated like a, mandatory checkpoints for prescription drug uses for drug. Oh, goddamn. You'd get in the car going to work one morning, man. You'd be like, what in the fuck is going on? Is it Sunday? Did I do that again? You ever done that? I know you have. I did. I've done it before, man. I did it in the past. Fucking, you get in a routine, get up, fucking, put your shit on, ready to go to work, shave and take a shower, get some breakfast, head out the door with your keys. All right, see you later. Hey, where you going? Motherfuckers are watching football and shit. Like, where you going? I'm going to fucking work. Dude, it's Sunday. It is? I thought it was fucking Monday. You'd be driving around, be no fucking cars in the road. What the fuck is going on? The apocalypse come? No, man. They instituted the fucking checkpoints for prescription drugs, and 98% of the population failed. There's nobody driving. Because that's seriously about what it would be. Because I tell you what, man, it sickens me that somehow prescription drugs are considered fine. And, oh, well, I have a back problem, so, it's okay. I'm not addicted to these, even though I can't go 30 minutes without having one. But yet they want to have breathalyzers for people who might be high on marijuana. That's just pure insanity. And I think if you're going to have that, and yet you're going to ignore, because I guarantee you, there's been more people killed from people driving behind the wheel of prescription drugs than there ever has from people influenced and high on marijuana. And yet, you don't see them calling for that. So I think that, again, I understand all the reasons why people want marijuana legalized and decriminalized, and I agree. I mean, all those reasons are good. I mean, we should have access and the ability to use that as medicine as opposed to using the pharmaceutical industrial complex poison they shove down our throats. Because, I mean, most of the things, I wouldn't say all, but a large amount of things that people prescribe medicine in, pharmaceutical drugs for can be cured 100% with marijuana. And as we talked about recently, I mean, your brain naturally creates cannabinoids, the things in there to work. It doesn't naturally create receptors to work for OxyContin or whatever it may be. So yeah, don't give up your DNA. Don't give in Samsung to make robots. What the fuck is that here? That was weird. Right when I went to this article to read it, the whole fucking thing flipped out on me. Samsung to make robots cheaper than any human worker. Well, here we go. Again, I mean, 5 years ago, I was saying, 2015, man, that's when it's going to start really, really, it'll be here. It'll be starting to happen. People are like, oh, no, you're crazy. He won't be there that soon. They're saying probably not another 30 years. I'm saying no. It's going to be here quicker than that. In the future, we will all be on benefits, while rich people use robots to make even more money. That's the dark future hinted at by Samsung's new big project, a plan to build robots cheaper even than the miserably underpaid humans who work in Chinese factories. The project, in collaboration with South Korea's Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy, has been funded to the tune of 6.75 billion won and aims to create factories which will undercut Chinese ones, according to the Register. If the plan works, South Korea could pick up lucrative contracts assembling products such as new iPhones currently made in huge Chinese factories. If so, it marks a dark day for the future of human employment, as so far many jobs have been protected simply because humans are cheaper than machines. That's the real thing nobody wants to talk about, isn't it? That's the scenario nobody even wants to even entertain theoretically. But you better start thinking about it, and you better start entertaining it real soon. What are they going to do, ladies and gentlemen? What are they going to do with all of the humans once humans are no longer necessary to do most of the labor that is required by humans now? I mean, there's only a very few possibilities you can really think of. And I don't think any of them are good. Because if there's too many of us that are not needed, they're going to start culling in a large way, and it's not going to be pretty. And then, yes, they'll probably do it under the guise of killer robots or some tin-pot dictator or something, as they always do. But nevertheless, we're on borrowed time, folks. We really are. That's why I'm trying to do as much as I can and expose as much of this hidden stuff as I can in the time that I have it. And again, that's the most important reason why you should support my work right there. Because, we're all on borrowed time. If you think, I don't care what age you are. I don't care right now. I don't care if you're 10, 15, 20 years old right now. I don't care how old you are. If you honestly think you're going to live to be old age and all that stuff, you got news. Yeah, I got news for you. It ain't going to happen. We're all on borrowed time. Nobody knows exactly when it's going to happen. Nobody can predict the date, but in our lifetimes, we will be obsolete. The world will change. And none of the outcomes are good. And people say, well, what do we do to change it? What do we do? Well, first we have to inform everybody out there in the world that it's even happening, because most everybody else out there is just sticking their head in the sands like goddamn ostriches, ignoring it. So the first and foremost thing we need to do is educate people and shake these people out of their fucking Matrix-like slumber and make them realize this is reality, not science fiction. And then what you do is you get people to not accept this stuff. Don't accept paying for goods and services with biometric stuff. Another thing the loving CIA-controlled Obama government's brought in. That's the main thing, is just not accepting this stuff, folks. Saying no. Standing up and saying no. But because they've got us all whipped up into a frenzy about privacy and hackers, and most of which are, controlled by the powers that be themselves that are doing this stuff. I predicted that many, many years ago. They want to sell you on the idea, just like they want to sell you on the threat of terrorism and everything else, every other threat. They want to sell you on this idea that your data isn't safe and your bank account isn't safe, so they can get you to acquiesce to becoming one with the system and merging with the computer system, and your biometric identification information being used for transactions and money. I mean, this is, people have talked about the mark of the beast and all that stuff for many years, and people who aren't necessarily religious and stuff have kind of fluffed it off and didn't want to believe it. But folks, you don't have to be a Christian or anything else to understand that whole mark of the beast thing. Well, I don't believe it's like, like they talk about with, I don't believe it's like, oh, the mark of the devil, the mark of Satan, and this is Satan bringing this in. I don't believe that for a second. But the people who control this planet and have created these phony religious narratives for you to buy into are the same ones that are making sure that this stuff, almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, comes true and actually happens. Because they've been the ones who have been planning this stuff since time immemorial. And they want to see their dreams come to fruition. Well, this is fascinating. This to me, I saw this last week and just went, wow. If this doesn't speak towards my, what I've been telling you about the Amorites and these world travelers, this has got the whole archaeological community in a frenzy right now. Shroud of Turin DNA indicates global origins. So they've done DNA tests on the supposed Shroud of Turin that Christ was supposedly wrapped in, and they found it didn't come from the area where Christ was supposedly from, anywhere from the area of the Middle East. It came from all around the world. As if whoever created it had been traveling all over the planet. Now, who else do we know that have done these? The Amorites, these giants. I mean, the mound builder DNA of these giants goes back to where, folks? You can see it in my film, Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 1. It's in Volume 2 as well. The mound builder's DNA traced back to the hills of Galilee. Who else was supposedly from Galilee? Jesus Christ. So it's clear that these people were all over the globe. That's why they can't explain this Shroud of Turin thing now. There's a surprising new wrinkle in the story of the celebrated Shroud of Turin. A group of Italian researchers have found that the 14-foot-long garment, believed by some to... Why did they need to wrap Jesus in something that was 14 feet long anyway? Doesn't make any sense. If he was a regular-sized dude, I don't think he was a regular-sized dude. I think he was a big, giant motherfucker. Otherwise, why do they need a 14-foot-long fucking garment to bury him in? Believed by some to be the burial cloth of Jesus Christ. Seriously, why do they need a 14-foot-long burial shroud for someone? Even though scientific research suggests that's not the case, contains DNA from plants found all over Earth. Ding, 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 ding. I mean, bingo, there it is. Here we report the main findings from the analysis of genomic DNA extracted from dust particles, vacuum from parts of the body image, and the lateral edge used for radiocarbon dating. Dr. Gianni Barasacchia, a plant genetics and genomics professor at the University of Padova in Italy, wrote in a paper co-authored with his colleagues about the DNA results. After sequencing the DNA of pollen and dust found on the shroud, the researchers discovered several plant groups native to the Mediterranean, Amorite territory. Other groups are linked to Asia, Amorite territory, the Middle East, Amorite territory, and the Americas. I mean, these are all places where these Amorites were at, ladies and gentlemen. It must have been introduced at a time later than the medieval period, according to scientists, right? This is blowing their minds. They can't fucking wrap their minds around it. It's tearing down the narrative. So, of course, they have even more of a vested interest now in suppressing people's work like mine and others who have gotten into these topics. Let's see what else we got. Well, this was very interesting when I read about this. I've talked about the a lot of the artifacts and the tablets looted from the Iraq National Museum, specifically the ones pertaining to those Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian times, which specifically relate to the Anunnaki and the genetic manipulation and creation of humans. And, you know, this just really blew my mind because it proves even more the relationship between religions and stuff like the Anunnaki stories and the Sumerians and the Babylonians. Billionaire Hobby Lobby owners are under federal investigation for possibly smuggling hundreds of Middle Eastern biblical artifacts to be exhibited in their Museum of the Bible. Fuck Hobby Lobby. You know what? I'm sorry. I've never liked, there's always been something shady about Hobby Lobby to me. I don't know what it is. I've always felt like every time I've been in one of those motherfuckers that I was being watched. The people that work there are creepy. There's creepy fucking people in there. I've had to go on Hobby Lobby, you know, from time to time for stuff for my rock and gym business, you know. You got to go in there and buy the little baggies that make you look like you're a drug dealer. It's fantastic. Oh, it's great. Especially when you look like I do, you know. Long hair, tattoos. And Hobby Lobby's a good Christian company. We ain't gonna pay for no evil devil child, what you call it, them there's all them there, what you call them pregnancy pills and them pills that the devil makes that keeps the babies from getting in you. We ain't gonna pay for our employees to have them, 'cause it's from the devil. But we sure will take some motherfucking stolen artifacts from them damn Sumerians and put them in their Jesus museum. It's always, I mean, that's the thing I can't stand about fucking Christians, man. You motherfuckers are the biggest goddamn hypocrites on your whole fucking life is a hypocrite. Jesus. I thought one of the commands was thou shalt not steal. What about that one? Well, thou shalt not steal unless you're stealing some precious artifacts from some damn evil sand niggers. That's what it is. As long as you're stealing it from the evil sand niggers that won't kill Christians, it's all right. God don't mind. Right. The owners of Hobby Lobby are being investigated for the possible smuggling of hundreds of ancient Middle Eastern biblical artifacts. The Greens have amassed 40,000 artifacts for a collection they plan to place in the Museum of the Bible. The Museum of the Bible. Come and welcome you to our Museum of... Now, why in the fuck are you wanting artifacts that pertain to civilizations thousands of years before supposed the birth of Christ? Makes no sense. Why are those biblical? Well, it's because these ancient cultures, the story of the, you know, the one true Savior and the guy walking on water and putting other gods before. I mean, Quetzalcoatl, Viracocha, Enki, Thoth, the list goes on and on. The incarnation of what has been known as Jesus was appearing and has been appearing. I mean, Egypt too. I mean, they had the story, all the stories in the Bible, thousands of years before the birth of Christ. And they'll tell, just like the Egyptians told the slaves the sun was God, meanwhile they had their own secret religion they didn't tell the slaves and the serfs about. modern day Christians are doing the same thing. They'll tell you, oh, them evil pagan Sumerians, don't worship them, don't look into them. And meanwhile, here they are wanting their artifacts for a museum of the Bible. And why they would want artifacts that existed thousands of years before the stories of the Bible, why is that? It's because they know just as much as you and I know about the true stuff of this. They're just not giving it to the rest of the public. Not giving them that context. And that's really what the Bible is. The Bible is like historical facts and events with the context edited out of it. Because if you take out the context and you take out the true meaning of what it is, no one ever understands it. Then you can just use it for manipulation and control and to keep people right where you want them. But now it's been revealed by the Daily Beast that the family has been under federal investigation for the last 4 years, specifically for unlawfully importing ancient Iraqi tablets that were thousands of years old. Again, this is not my opinion. They are literally being investigated for those very specific ones that came from that very specific time period when the Anunnaki or living gods were here on Earth. They know this shit as much as you and I do, but they don't want to fucking, number one, let the rest of the general public know they know, and number two, they sure as fuck don't want to let their sheep know, because they couldn't handle it. But the elite people in these religions, they know about this stuff, and they are trying to collect it, and that's why these wars are being justified over there. It's not so they can go and get oil, I've told you that. It's so they can go and get these artifacts. Makes me want to go burn a Hobby Lobby down to the ground just for that. I think for every ancient Anunnaki tablet they've taken from that area, Hobby Lobby should have a store burned down. The investigation began in 2011 after U.S. Customs in Memphis seized nearly 300 small clay tablets that were supposed to be delivered to the Hobby Lobby headquarters in Oklahoma City. You guys are fucking morons. So 300 clay tablets. So that's 300. Does Hobby Lobby even have 300 stores? 300 tablets. One store for every should be burnt to the fucking ground, I think. So these morons didn't even bother setting up like a shell company or, maybe getting a P.O. box or a dummy address or something like that. No, these motherfuckers are so brash and so arrogant that they illegally imported ancient Mesopotamian clay tablets, specifically from the Sumerian time period, from somebody and had them sent with their Hobby Lobby headquarters address in Oklahoma City on it. Boy, some fucking geniuses running that company. You motherfuckers are smart. You take the smart cake as far as I'm concerned. Jesus. Yeah, I just put my name on it. I ain't got nothing to hide from the Lord. Me and the Lord got nothing to hide. No secrets between me and the Lord. This is guy Steve Green that runs Hobby. That's what I've never heard him talk, but every time I see his face, I can't help but think that he talks just like this. Like he maybe wanted to be a preacher and couldn't make it, so he instead decided to start himself a Hobby Lobby, a hobby. I call it Snobby Lobby is what I call it. Fucking Snobby Lobby. That's what I've always called it. That's fucking hilarious. This fucking amateur didn't even bother. What would you think was going to happen? Do you think Customs was just going to let a bunch of it's just Hobby Lobby. They're probably doing it for the Lord, so it's okay. Shit. Here's the money shot right here. The tablets contained cuneiform script, not Aramaic. Aramaic came much later than cuneiform. You'd think these guys would be interested in, the supposed language of Jesus, right? Aramaic. No. No, we want those tablets that came from Sumerian with the cuneiform on them. What in fucking God's green acres does that have to do with the Bible? Well, that's probably why they want it, because they know they probably didn't want them to. My ass, they wanted to display them. They want to fucking keep them under lock and key because that's proof that destroys their narrative and their timeline. Beyond any shadow of a doubt, they show that these resurrection and all this stuff, and this was happening long before the days of Christ. The tablets contain cuneiform script, one of the earliest known systems of writing. It emerged in the ancient civilization of Sumer in Mesopotamia, known today as Iraq. Museum of the Bible President Kerry Summers confirmed to the Daily Beast that the family was under investigation for the seized tablets, but it said it was merely a case of improper paperwork. Right. It's illegal to import certain things from certain countries. Improper paperwork. There was a shipment that had improper paperwork, incomplete paperwork that was attached to it. Sometimes this stuff just sits and nobody does anything with it. But an individual close to the investigation told the Daily Beast that hundreds of hours of interviews have been accumulated regarding the case. And another source said the Greens only assigned a monetary value of $300 to the tablets they titled handcrafted clay tiles on their FedEx. So they also forged and lied about the contents on the shipping manifest. They claim they're only worth $300, and they claim they're handcrafted clay tiles. Well, that's your way of getting around. Yeah, I guess technically they are handcrafted clay tiles. But that sells it a little short now, doesn't it? This both hid the artifact's cultural identity and was a vast understatement of their monetary value. Shipments valued over $2,500 are required to undergo formal entry through U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and much more extensive process than the expedited informal entry. That proves beyond any shadow of a doubt their intent was to conceal what they were bringing in. Hobby Lobby CEO Steve Green told the Daily Beast it's possible his family's collection contains some illicit artifacts, but if it does, it is without his knowledge. What kind of fucking lawyer doublespeak horseshit is that? Yeah, it's possible our collection can't contain some illegal artifacts, but if it does contain some, then I don't know anything about it. Then how did you know to just make that? God, it's baffling. Yeah, it might. Yeah, our collection might contain some illegal stuff, but I don't know anything about it if it does. Then how could you know to say it might contain some? That's the most ridiculous lying doublespeak I've ever seen. The Green family has accumulated a $4.5 billion fortune since launching their craft store in 1970 with more than 600 shops now. So 600 shops. It's okay, so about half of their shops should be fucking torched for. Man, I'm so sick of these people. I am so fucking sick of these lying, hypocritical fucking people running around doing anything they want to do, claiming under the guise of whatever religion, Christianity or Catholicism, insulting everybody else, saying everybody else is wrong, and this is pagan, and this is devil, and whatever else, and this is lies. And meanwhile, look at this. And again, you know why these people want this stuff. They don't want this to put on display in some museum. They want this stuff so they can conceal the real truth and keep their narrative of their phony bullshit religions and control systems in place. That's it. So fuck Hobby Lobby. Fuck Hobby Lobby right in their dirty shitholes. Is E.T. a robot? Astronomer Royal believes aliens have transitioned from organic forms to machines and that humans will do the same. Here we go. Boy, they talk about killing two birds with one stone. They're aiming for the phony alien disclosure and the merging of machines with this one, aren't they? All in one shot. But I don't disagree with this whatsoever. I think this is right on line. But you'd be stupid to think advanced civilizations would be sending organic people here. I think the real crafts and UFOs and the grays and whatnot, those are all just, drones, machines. Absolutely. Aliens may resemble little green men or tentacle monsters in sci-fi films, but the Astronomer Royal claims they may be far less organic. British astrophysicist and cosmologist Sir Martin Rees believes if we manage to detect aliens, it will not be by stumbling across organic life, but from picking up a signal made by machines. It's likely these machines will have evolved from organic alien beings, and that humans will also make the transition from biological to mechanical in the future. Writing for Nautilus, Sir Martin said that while the way we think has led to all culture and science on Earth, it will be a brief precursor to more powerful machine brains. He thinks that life away from Earth has probably already gone through this transition from organic to machine. On a planet orbiting a star far older than the sun, life may have evolved much the way toward a dominant machine intelligence. He writes, Sir Martin believes it could be 1 or 2 more centuries before humans are overtaken by machine intelligence. Ain't gonna be that long, Bubba. Give another fucking 10, 20 years, tops. If that long. I think that's a conservative. 5 to 10 years may even be. When this stuff starts happening. Because it's exponentiated faster than they even thought it would. And it does every year. So you can see here, they are really building this narrative. Human DNA found in popular hot dog and sausage brands and contains 10%, and 10% of vegetarian varieties contain meat. So take that, vegans and vegetarians. Yeah. You can talk shit all you want about us eating fucking the furry animals. Oh. Talk all you want about us meat eaters eating the animals. You motherfuckers are eating Soylent Green fucking humans. Sorry, I'd rather eat red meat than eat fucking human. I guess it's red meat too, though, isn't it? Human DNA has been found in 2% of hot dogs and sausages. A major study of popular brands has revealed. No, where would that come from? That's what they don't ever explain. Why would there be human DNA in there at all? I've wondered about that for a long time, man. I think they're fucking. I think we've been eating a lot of Soylent Green longer than we thought we have. Tests on 345 samples from 75 different brands also revealed 10% of vegetarian hot dogs contain meat. Out of the samples that tested positive for DNA, 66%, 4 were vegetarian. The genetic material that was found could have come from a hair, a fingernail, a dribble of spit, or a drop of blood. 21 vegetarian products were tested overall. The genetic testing analysis carried out by Clear Food, which looked at major brands and regional favorites being sold by 10 retailers, did not specify which brands contained the human DNA or what caused the contamination. The testing lab did identify the most hygienic brands of hot dogs and sausages by assigning a clear score rating. The score is a representation of how closely a product's label matches with its actual molecular contents. The top 5 brands with the highest ratings using that metric were Butterball, McCormick. God, McCormick puts... They're MSG Deluxe, man. McCormick, everything they make is MSG. Garden, Eckrich, and Hebrew National. Yeah. You know them fucking Jews ain't eating no Soylent Green now, are they? Overall, the study found 14.4% of the hot dogs and sausages that were tested had issues that were not related to ketchup, mustard, or relish. Evidence of chicken, beef, or turkey, lamb, or pork was found in 28 products that were not supposed to contain those ingredients according to how they were labeled. Pork substitution was also found in 3% of the samples. What the fuck is pork substitution? For consumers who still want to eat vegetarian, the soy chorizo sold at Trader Joe's was rated as the best option with Trader Joe's meatless corn dogs receiving an honorable mention. Yeah, Trader Joe's is the shit. They got some good shit there. Clear Food identified the best products overall as Tavarite's mild Italian pork sausage from Safeway, the 365 mild Italian chicken sausage, and Idell's organic smoked chicken sausage from Whole Foods, and the Ballpark smoked white turkey franks from Target. So, yeah, how about we just not eat any of that stuff? Shit, man. I mean, I don't ever eat fucking hot dogs and breakfast sausage and shit. I mean, ugh. I'll occasionally have, a hot dog if it's, all beef or something. No nitrates, no fucking preservatives, all that shit. I'll have one on the rare occasion, but whew. Boy, parts is parts, isn't it? That's what they say. That is gross. Forget the tinfoil hat. NSA-proof wallpaper could keep snoopers and doomsday electromagnetic weapons at bay. Oh boy. This is crazy. It could be the ultimate armor against cyber warfare. A Utah firm has revealed a new flexible material that can create a Faraday cage, blocking all electronic transmissions. Yes. Oh, this is badass. Oh, shit. I want my whole fucking studio dicked out in this shit. The material could even be used to wallpaper and protect entire rooms. All right, let's do it. I'm down. Conductive Composites has created a method to layer nickel on carbon to form a material that's light and moldable like plastic, yet can disperse energy like a traditional metal cage. Our materials integrate game-changing conductivity and shielding performance as part of a multifunctional material system while preserving the basic weight, cost, structural, environmental, and manufacturing performance advantages of composites and plastics. So essentially what he's saying is it's no more expensive than the regular stuff we're already using in our homes. So we should just across the board all be using this. But of course, government is not going to let that happen. Wow, that's fascinating. And by the way, just for the real kooks and crazies out there, if you're going to make a tinfoil hat, it has to be made out of tinfoil. Most of the stuff you get these days is aluminum foil. Aluminum won't work. Aluminum will block out the rays, man. It's got to be tin. That tinfoil hat thing was not just a joke. It's got to be tin. If you're making a hat out of aluminum, you are not blocking out the HARP rays. Go back to the drawing board. You're just wearing a stupid hat, dude. There's a reason why the tinfoil was put on there as a specifier. It's because it's only tin that'll work, and they don't even sell real actual tinfoil anymore, do they? It's all aluminum. What will humans look like in 1,000 years? Video suggests we could develop red eyes, have darker skin, and be better looking. Are we going to turn into robotic machine reptilians? Is that the plan? I'm sure it is. Humans will be very different creatures 1,000 years from now. Climate change, artificial intelligence, and genetic mutations are all set to transform our bodies in drastic ways. I mean, here it is. I mean, this every turn they're trying to get us acclimated and ready for this, folks. They're not even hiding it anymore. We could, for instance, develop red eyes as our DNA mutates and have darker skin as an evolutionary response to global warming. So we're all going to turn black and have red eyes. I don't know, man. This sounds like somebody's got an agenda. I mean, I'm not really on board with all that white genocide bullshit that all these fucking people like Red Ice and all the rest of these people are hawking these days. I'm not really into that whole thing, but you do see glimpses of this stuff sometimes. It makes you go, yeah, maybe there is a little something to some of that stuff. In the future, nanobots or tiny robots will be suddenly integrated into our own bodies, enhancing our abilities. Great. Little machines inside of us that who knows who could just push a button and kill us at any moment. Like pulling the heart plug from fucking Dune or something. No longer will we be limited by our own physiology, but truly become a mixture of biology and machine on the inside. See how they sell it as sexy and just, oh, it's just a part of evolution in the future. You don't want to be left behind, do you? You want to be stronger and smarter and better looking, and you want to live longer. Yes, that's why you need the nanobots and the machines inside of you. I mean, this is horseshit. But they are trying to sell it to the generations coming up, folks, that are already addicted to smartphones and tablets and everything else. It's up to us to continue to make documentary films and do these radio shows and educate the people so they can educate the coming generations to not buy this stuff and not buy into it. It's really our only salvation. We don't have a lot of choices here. We either choose not to go along with this and we stand up for humanity and stand up for ourselves, or we go along and it's going to be literal hell on earth like you cannot even fucking imagine. That's the goal. That's the plan. You want to know what it is? That's the plan. That's how they want to do. That's why they want to do away with individuality. That's why all this PC bullshit is all the rage now and everything's politically correct. It's the slippery slope towards the complete destruction of individuality and the homogenization of people through the merging with machines and technology. And I, for one, am not going to go along with it. All right, folks, we're going to leave it there. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We need your help to continue, and we've got to meet 100% of our goal this week. Go to my website, theglobalreality.com, and make a contribution today. Right now, folks, we're in financial dire straits, and we need your help. My name is Josh Reeves. I love you all. Take care.